Hello, love. Welcome home to Eden. This is Eve Christoph, your Love Life Muse. Stick with me for the hottest news and subscribe to this channel to get somewhere new. So let's talk about how I hit the glass ceiling in my job and broke through thanks to the help of some great men who all, they did subtle things to help me take my hand and pull me up over that wall. All right, so how does it work? So I'm working in this job for a great company with great bosses, right? And my bosses help me grow and excel in my job. And then after a time period, what happens is I excel more than any of us expected, way more than I expected to. And I become what's called in the company a high flyer, and I get celebrated with like 200 men and a couple of women. There was 20 people out of the company who got to be high flyers, and there was just 2 women of those people, and it was very exciting. But when it came time for giving raises, they felt they could not give me a raise. And they felt really justified in this because this is how the male psychology works. When it was time to give raises, there was all of these things that they legitimately were dealing with. All right, but this is how we women are trapped, right? So the first thing was, Eve, you excelled too much. We got all these new beginners on the team. They're not going to be able to do even a fraction of what you did. Making the bar too high is not realistic. So we don't want to make an example of you as getting a raise, because none of them will be able to get to your level to get their raise. So they give raises to about 4 people instead of me, and I'm freaked. I'm like, I've jumped through hundreds of hoops of rings of fire for you guys. I thought you had my back. I thought you were loyal to me. I was loyal to you. I was so hurt. Now, their other reasoning was, well, Eve, the way you've been going about succeeding is too creative. It's very creative. It's different than how our standard practice for success works. Now, they're right about this, right? Because when a woman comes into a company, she will always see things that are in the blind spots of all the men, and she will always have a whole new approach. If she's a creative woman who wants to succeed, she can't necessarily, if she's very feminine like I am, she can't necessarily even succeed on the men's terms. She won't be able to do what they do, because they do what they do great. I had to make up my own way in order to succeed in this job, because otherwise I couldn't have done it. So they say your way is too creative. Okay, so now the next reason they say is that Eve, your way is creative, and on top of that, we just, your territory is different than the other people's territory. There's just no job description that you can fill because you have created your own way. You've dug your own grave, Eve. You already made it so different that now there's no job description for you. Okay. And you can't pass this knowledge on to other people because it's too eccentric. And I'm thinking, wait, I could pass this on to everybody. I could help everybody in the team be a high flyer like me. Why are they saying this? What's so weirdly creative? Why not just give another title to me? They would have had to stick their necks out, I guess, to their bosses and really say, this woman is incredible. We need to give her a raise. It's just not fair to give other people raises and not her. But they felt that they were, since they had just got promotions, they didn't feel that they could take that courage or that authority to stand up for me. So over time, they were being really sweet. They were trying to find a way to make it a little more fair that I could have a raise too. But this is what happens when women hit the glass ceiling and you realize, oh my God, there's no place for my creativity here. Instead of the men going, oh, a woman's here, she's got a whole nother perspective, let's take her in, let's learn from her, they get a little scared because it's the feeling like, oh, the whole boat's going to tip over, the woman's going to change everything. And the truth is, if they do keep bending the shape of that box that they're in, little by little, they will embrace women. They will bring us over that glass wall. But in the end, there will no longer be a square that they're working in. It will be a circle from all the little bends they made on behalf of the women. And a circle is holistic, and a circle includes your sensuality, your joy, your rest, your health, your personal needs. That's the way women think. We think holistically, your whole life. What makes this job worthwhile is the lifestyle, not the money or the competitions that we win, right? So what women tend to do when they hit the glass ceilings is one of two things. One is they just feel so depressed, they give up, and from then on they feel like a dog, like who's been kicked. You know, everybody else has got the raises, they've worked harder than everybody. They lose their morale. This is how I felt. Like, I don't even want to try anymore. I had about 10 days where I lost all my momentum, and I literally got really, really sick, and I was just in bed. I felt so sick to my stomach that all of the blessings of what I brought were not going to be rewarded in a grounded way. They say, we'll celebrate you, we'll make a big deal about you, flatter me, right? But I'm the one who's a mama who wants to take care of her family. I'm not a kid, you know. So what women tend to do when they hit the glass ceiling is they either do that demoralized thing, or they go to the next floor where there's going to be a whole different ceiling, which is what I did. I went to the next floor of the company, a higher level of leadership and responsibility, and I approached the boss there, and it was so beautiful because I'm a perfect fit for that level, you know, and I did get hired into that level. But I felt sad because I feel grateful, joyful, overjoyed to be going to the next level with this wonderful boss in that level, who is, by the way, not threatened by me wanting to dress like a lady. Yes! I can take off the trash bag they make me wear in the lower level. But anyway, but I felt sad in that I felt loyalty to my first team, and I didn't feel loyalty in return in the end. And it felt like the men had all these justifications why I couldn't be promoted. And that's the way it is, I realize, all over the country, all over the world. When the men are in control and the women are excelling, they're threatened by our completely different way of going about things on the job site, our completely different way of accomplishing, and our high level of accomplishment, which makes them look bad. And it may be true that they can't ask everybody to do what we do, but they can ask other women. You see, you can have a women's and a men's team, and the women will be able to do this other level, but they need to be paid more than the men for doing more, okay? More, not less. So this is a worldwide revolution going on as the feminine really comes forward with how sexy we really are, how free our women really want to be in their sexuality, how flamboyant we want to be in our dresses, and look at the things online, the way women really want to dress. It's gorgeous, you know, how accomplished we want to be in our job, and well paid and powerful, so that we can afford our own homes, our own cars, without being dependent. And all of this rocks the boat of the masculine. How will he support her? How will he even be there for her if she's so freaking independent, and if she works so differently than the men? Don't worry. Don't worry. You're needed. What she needs you for when you don't control her is you. She needs you for you. She needs you for your love, your friendship, your thoughts, your sexuality, your romance. You are so let off the hook if you don't have to control her and stop her power. Suddenly she's overjoyed and she's loving your power. She's supporting your power instead of this subtle competition and power struggle between the sexes. That's not power struggle. Let's just admit we're different, and let's support the different ways men and women work. And please, guys, this is the other thing. Don't be threatened by the women dressing sexy, especially in hot weather. We cannot be in a head job to make you comfortable, okay? Deal with your hot sexuality, if you're a sexy guy and you're turned on by women, the solution is not to make them all cover themselves. The solution is to celebrate them. And there's a total difference between lewd comments to a woman that demean her and make her feel like all she's valuable for is your benefit to look at. That won't work. That's called sexual harassment. But simple comments, like when I went to work the other day and everybody was just so sweet. Like, oh, you look beautiful. It's so good to see you. Oh, you smell so good. I just felt celebrated. And that was the day that my boss said I was way too inappropriate and too sexy. Go figure. I don't think he's right. I don't think he's right. We need some sexuality from the women to be allowed all the time, and that's part of our empowerment. Without it being a requirement that she has to be, then she's naturally that way. Now we're in a planet that is heaven. Now we've come back to Eden. Okay? Let's come back to Eden. Much love, darling. Love life. Okay.